How much more bad luck can our depth chart handle right now? Fly, Eagles, fly! I have two tough news items to share with you today. We had a terrifying moment when an undrafted running back took a nasty knee to the head and required a stretcher. On top of that, an offensive weapon battling for a depth receiver role just landed back on injured reserve one day after reaching an injury settlement. I will tell you exactly who these guys are in a minute. Stick around until the end to catch both of these updates, and please hit that like and subscribe button. Ja'Quinden Jackson suffered a terrifying injury on the opening kickoff of our preseason game against the Patriots, leaving us all watching in silence. The 6'2", 233-pound back had only been signed on August 10th to provide depth, but his physical presence was already making waves in camp. After he took an apparent knee to the head, medical staff immediately rushed onto the field with an ambulance, creating a somber scene that stopped the game dead. And honestly, my heart sank seeing the entire sideline surround him for support. According to Eagles Wire, he thankfully has movement and strength in all extremities after arriving at the local hospital. Is this the real deal, or are we witnessing a total nightmare for our backfield rotation? I'm holding on to hope for his recovery, but we must ask, what does this vacancy mean for our remaining depth chart competition? Why would our coaching staff bring a player like this into such a crowded room if they didn't value his versatility? Ja'Quinden Jackson signed on August 10th specifically to fight for a reserve role behind Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby, and Will Shipley. He arrived as an undrafted free agent from 2025 with stops at Texas, Utah, and Arkansas. His 6'2", 233-pound frame provided necessary size, but he was hunting for a roster spot largely through his special teams value. Here's the thing nobody wants to say, losing a guy mid-preseason is always a massive blow for the bottom of our depth chart. I'm excited about our potential, but I also want to pump the brakes a little until we confirm his diagnosis. Was his ability to play across various phases really the key to cracking the roster bubble this year? Or were we just overvaluing his versatility? Now we need to address the tough news regarding Johnny Wilson being placed on injured reserve following his recent knee injury. This development stings because Wilson, who missed all of 2024, was fighting hard for that number 5 receiver spot during camp. After the front office reached an injury settlement with him on Friday, he was briefly waived before the team reverted him to the reserve list within 24 hours. What nobody is talking about is the specific path this creates for his future, as NFL rules allow him to return to us in 2027 if he clears the 3-week penalty period tied to his settlement. I am hopeful for his health, but should we really expect him to contribute after this latest setback? It is a brutal reality for a depth chart battle, and I'm curious to see if he recovers fully. Finding a clear path back to the field is the primary goal for Johnny Wilson after this setback. By settling the injury, we retain the option to bring him back in 2027 should he clear the 3-week waiting period. Some scouts view his physical profile as an asset for the red zone, but does a recurring knee issue make him a liability for our long-term health? Here's what people are missing. That 3-week window is a strategic bridge that keeps our options open while he focuses on his recovery. The downside is clearly the uncertainty, as missing that preseason game prevents him from proving his value against the rest of our roster. My honest take here is that management is playing it safe to protect his future development. Is it truly worth the wait, or should we be looking elsewhere for our receiver depth? When you put both of today's stories together, here is the picture that emerges for the Philadelphia Eagles. We are seeing a series of physical setbacks at positions where depth is absolutely vital. This is where it gets real, as losing contributors during the preseason forces our front office to constantly adjust the roster bubble. Jackson and Wilson were fighting for spots that matter, and their departures shift the pressure onto our secondary options to perform under the lights. I worry about how these gaps impact our long-term rotation depth during the grind of a full season. Do you think the team needs to sign a veteran backup running back immediately after the scare with Jackson? Also, should we prioritize adding another receiver if Wilson cannot return? I want to hear from you in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe.